Okay. So requirements planning. This is where the ISM test differs a great deal from the Association for Supply Chain Management, or the old APIX organization. APIX is what everybody still calls it. Because they come from inventory planning, a lot of their test is on this kind of stuff. But in our system, it's all done by the divisions, the plant planners and the division planners. But there's test questions on it, so we'll study it a little bit. So principles of XRP, and they, ERP, DRP, they just put an X in there. It's like RFX. Requirements or resource planning systems, maybe materials, enterprise, manufacturing, distribution, any of them. So most of them are ERP systems. The SAP system that we use, known as GPPS, is an ERP system, enterprise. Provides the ability to plan and replenish inventory needs much better than basic reorder point systems, which is what we used to use back in the prior to the 80s, was 3x5 index cards and reorder point systems. When it gets down to the card, take it to the purchasing guy and he'll order more. Enterprise systems integrate several basic data things: inventory, bill of materials, master schedule, open orders, and production scheduling systems. This is all MRP2 stuff mostly. Dependent demand planning systems such as MRP, or material requirements planning, integrated with capacity planning systems to create a material resource planning in the 90s. They also put the costed BOM in the MRP2 systems. And then they turned into ERP systems after that, which has, HR, finance. None of their SAP or Oracle, nobody really uses the actual system. They usually just use it as a engine, and then they bolt on something that works a little bit better for, like, purchasing. We're going to put in the Ariba just because it's easier to use than the actual SAP system. And HR does it, and finance does it, and everybody else does the same thing. Data source consolidation, ERP systems expanded to include things, other plants, divisions, corporate structures, suppliers, customers. This is what the ERP system starts covering over the MRP2 systems from the 90s. So when you're looking at information sharing, what's available, who should have access to it, when you start getting into purchase orders and pricing and stuff like that, or drawings, got to look at access and what information do suppliers need and what information don't they. We control it through the e-portal system and what we'll let suppliers look at. Data integrity. I don't think PACCAR's alone in this, but our data integrity sucks. We have a lot of cleanup we have to do in our data, and I think most Fortune 500 companies are probably in the same boat. It causes a lot of issues over material planning when they don't have correct inventory levels. And on-time performance is notoriously hard to measure for various reasons. Data will have to be cleaned up both electronically and manually. They've got some new AI systems that supposedly you can train to clean up a lot of this data. I don't know if they're really worth the money, but something to try. Types of requirements planning. So you got the enterprise resource planning system. It'll cover both manufacturing and service business. And from what I heard, SAP really started out as a service business ERP system. Forecasting, materials management, procurement, finance, engineering, etc. MRP systems are basic. This is the thing that blows down the bill of materials and blows out the from the master schedule and gives you the dependent demand. And then the MRP2 system, which is mostly capacity planning and costing. operational units and financial planning dollars. MRP system capacity insensitive. The original system didn't care what the capacity was. It just blew out whatever master schedule you put in. The new systems will tell you, hey, you can't make that many. So here's, the kind of modules that are in ERP systems these days. And like I say, each of these guys usually will go get their own other bolt-on software and we'll just use the SAP engine. And here's hypothetically how it works. The master schedule looks at these two things, and then it looks at bombs and inventory records and tells you what you need to buy, when do you need to release it based on lead times, and records inventory transactions when you're making the finished goods. So here's a real apex looking kind of thing. This is what our division planners will do. They'll look at screens that are similar to this. Order lead time to the supplier is 2 weeks, and the lot size multiple are 50 pieces. Now, PACCAR usually does not deal with lot size multiples because we're big enough. We just tell them, hey, if we want one, we'll order one. Same price. But smaller companies have to deal with lot sizes. Given this order placement, the company will run out in week 6. So what you can see is it goes negative here. The net requirement. So gross requirements, this is the demand that's being blown down. Then these are the POs that are scheduled to show up. And these are the receipts based on the POs. And then this is where it's telling you, okay, you need to release these orders in this week. And if you follow all the math here, you end up with 20 short in week 6. So basically, gross requirements are negative, scheduled receipts, you got positive, plus 100 from week 0. That'll give you 90. And then you just kind of do the same math over and over. And then it's telling you to get these in week 3, you got to order them in week 1. Why? Because you got a 2-week lead time. And you notice it's always in multiples of 50. And then, so what you're doing here is you're changing the scheduled receipts here from 100 to 150, which then brings you positive. So these things are pretty simple. It's just basic math. They can take a while to try and figure out what's going on. So don't waste a lot of time on them on the test. Make a guess and flag it and come back. MRP2 usually addresses operational planning and has a simulation function for what-if questions. It's usually capacity planning. Opposed to business planning, sales and operation, production, master schedule, MRP. And these two are in the MRP system, the original MRP system. But the what-if is usually capacity related. And then you've got DRP, which is an MRP system that's used by a warehouse or distribution center, which is PACCAR Parts uses a DRP system, which I'm pretty sure is homegrown off an IBM AS400 mini tower thing. And they've had it around since the 90s, but I think it's pretty well honed to what they want. Looks at central distribution point by combining the net requirements from satellite warehouses or distribution centers across the country, etc. And the difference between a distribution requirements planning and a warehouse management system is not a lot. They're kind of the same thing, except for this one is looking to ship, this one's looking to ship from a certain warehouse, and it'll pull stock from all of the other warehouses. This one's kind of looking at one warehouse. Should include flexible locations. DRP system includes all of this stuff too. cycle counting, it's a big deal, labor tracking, transportation management systems, otherwise known as a TMS. We have installed a SAP TMS down on floor 2 recently in the last 2 or 3 years. And then the RMS, returns management system. This would be for a consumer product. We wouldn't use this because our returns are basically warranties. And then the bill of material. So the MRP system, in order to function, it needs a master schedule and a bill of material, because it takes the end item on the master schedule, finds the bill of material, and then blows that apart and tells you when to order all the parts. Here's some things you'll see on tests. A phantom bomb. It's a list of items that are used together but not assembled into a subassembly. So phantom bomb is basically a kit of parts. A modular bomb is what we use in the truck plants. We plug in, we have a parent bill, and then we plug in different options based on what the customer orders. Then you've got an implosion bomb, which is a where used list of the parents of an item. I don't know that we use these things. It's basically implosion bomb is where used. And then a planning bomb. We'll use these in the master schedule where we think we're going to have these orders, but the customer hasn't actually ordered them yet, but it drives material. HVAC options grouped together on one bomb is a planning bomb. And then software system development life cycle. So analysis, design, development, testing, implementation, and maintenance. Getting to be more and more software in our trucks. So you got the SDLC, the software development life cycle. Analysis on the software to see what parts. So this is if you want to go out and buy a new ERP system or a new purchasing system to plug into your ERP system. How much does it cost? What parts do you need? What parts do you need to be modified? What does the final system should include? What do you need in your purchasing system? Development. Who's going to write the code? Develop any modifications if we're going to do any. Changes or software add-on packages purchased, consider the cost of retrofitting software. So when you modify software, or especially a custom modification, every time they do a major upgrade, you have to pay for that to be rewritten. So doing modifications to software packages is usually not a good idea because it costs, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. Changes need to be made throughout the company to support the new system. You know, do you have the hardware computers that'll actually run this software? Updating policies and procedures, develop training plans, changing functional relationships if you need it. Testing. You got to have a test script and you got to know what you're looking for, and you got to do a pilot, because if you just turn on it, the software, you'll usually be very, very disappointed. Implementation, once your pilot is gone through and everything seems to be operating, you can put it into immediate operation. And you'll still have issues that show up, but not as many. And then maintenance. So you got to do maintenance on these software programs, mostly to keep the bad guys out of them and other things. All right. Computer-based system that utilizes a master production schedule, bill of materials, and current inventory data to determine current new requirements and timing is called what? This is not really a good question because you got to think, well, what is the answers that they would be looking for?
Is it B?
Yeah. It's really all of the above, right? But B is the answer that they'd be looking for. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then MRP considers which of the following to determine when an order needs to be released. So what drives the MRP system to tell you when to release a purchase order?
Due date, see?
Yeah, it's got to be due date. Better be. Yep, see it is. All right, there's some, or if you're into doing extra credit, there's some case studies here, and the answers are located on here.
Okay.
But I got 9 questions. Why don't you guys go get on them, and we will go over answers at 2:25 unless you raise your hands and get done early.
I already finished the 9 questions.
All right.
Yep. Looks like Angelica has her hand up. Was that a question or are you done also?
Are you working, Angelica? Yes, no. Looks like she took it back down. All right, we'll give her a few minutes. I usually go through them anyway just to see if there's any typos in them.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I had a question earlier about where used when you brought up essentially in the lesson, how is our engineering able to capture where they use parts at?
I don't think they use implosion bombs, and I don't think we have a very good handle on it. They use PCMS, and they'll just kind of look at all the ECNs that these things are on. And they'll kind of have an idea of what trucks they're used on. But because it can vary so much based on the customization of each truck model, if we ever got something to replace the ERP system at the plant level, then we might be able to have something. But I mean, that junk's IBM software from 1980. So, that's the problem. And
Isn't
even when
isn't it green screen kind of DOS format looking?
Yeah, you punch in a 4-letter code and you get a different green screen. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's pretty ancient. And and it also, when we cost our trucks for sales, we don't know exactly how much that particular truck costs. We kind of know a ballpark number, and we pad it a little bit. Tell the sales guy he can only go to here. But that's because we don't really have a where used that's very good.
Yeah, I want to say it was either in VOG or Windchill, probably Windchill, where you can look up a part and then there's a where used, but I mean, it gives you way too much
A truck
options
model.
than, realistically. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that in somebody built a Tableau report for us, which helps, but it's not it's not exact. I mean, it'll tell you it's on a W990.
Yeah. And it breaks it down with like a mix percentage for each of the models, but that still doesn't really, it literally just says it's used on everything.
Yeah.
At least from my desk, right? It's all tie rods and stuff. So it's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, certain parts, right? That's what you're going to get. It's like, well, it's on all our trucks.
Yeah.
I'm done as well.
All right. We will go over some answers then. Oh, I guess I gotta go pull them up. Okay. Number 1 is D, Delta. MRP systems do not include strategic planning. 2 is Alpha. MRP systems create detailed operating information. Top management decision making is more strategic. 3 is Delta again. MRP uses the master production schedule, the bills of material, and the on-hand inventory. 4 is Charlie. Materials that are delivered infrequently in large quantities will appear only a few times in an MRP planning schedule. They don't work well with MRP. 5 is Bravo. Data integrity could be compromised if usage is combined or delivery quality issues arise. 6 is Delta. MRP calculates net requirements. 7 is Alpha. A phantom bill is a list of items that are used together, like a kit. 8 is Bravo. The order multiple is 50, and you already have 100 pieces on order in week 4. To be delivered in week 6. You are 20 pieces short, so you need to receive 150 pieces total. And then 9 is Delta. Order multiple is 100. We have 100 on hand. And in week 4, due to a 2-week, you're 165 pieces short, so you need to receive 300 pieces. Any questions? All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Can you hang there for a second? Option C was 4. Okay, that's good. And then what was 5? 5
And
is
5
yeah.
is B, data
Got it.
integrity. Yeah.
Perfect.
All righty.
Thank you.
See you guys.